Rooted Rising God family. Beautiful, beautiful day in Palm Beach right now. And, today I just wanted to talk a little bit about, just how I've been coping with the loss of my father, and also, chew in on a little insight in terms of my family and dealing with that. And maybe this may help somebody, right? I want to say, first of all, that it's been so therapeutic to do certain things and, in a sense, just be more open about, the things I've been going through with people, but also to be putting myself out there a little bit more online, like it's something that my dad wanted for me, because he's just like, yo, the ideas that you have, the concepts, the way that you break things down, I think that this is like your calling. And so, it's a constant reminder to just do it. Two things that my dad would always be about is like, yo, whatever you want, just do it. Like, make it happen. Like, what's holding you back? What's stopping you? And then the other thing was to just live with so much joy, you feel me? To just be very fired up and exuberant and don't waste no time, the time that we have, like take advantage of it, take advantage of these days, take advantage of, the blessings and the opportunity to breathe, to move, to interact with people, because, you never know how an interaction could even create just a lifelong friend, or even just teach you something. Every moment is a moment to learn something new, and to sometimes these moments in different people, they can be such great and profound lessons. So how do we learn is really an important thing. I think that what children do is they ask questions, right? And they don't necessarily make broad assumptions if they don't know something. They're not afraid to ask. And I feel like as adults, we shouldn't be afraid to ask. And I want to break that down in a way that's going to be a little bit, I'm going to paint it in the form of a story, right? In the sense of my brothers, right? A lot of people will assume, because they are young, like, oh, it must be so hard it must not be as hard for them because they haven't had the memories or, the years that I've had, or that my older sister or my older brother have had, in terms of, just spending time with my father. And my thing is like, well, based on my observation, that couldn't be further from the truth. Because they're mourning in their own way. They're asking about their father in their own way. They're talking and crying and screaming and still dealing with some real stuff. Even the 2-year-old asking for dad and saying, I want dad, and crying and things like that. Like, that's real, And a lot of times people will minimize anyone's pain by making assumptions. Or even, not even minimizing pain, but sometimes putting something on that might not be there. Like people, for example, with me saying, yo, it must be so hard for you. Or, stay strong, or this must be a difficult time. And it's like, why don't you ask me how I'm feeling? Why don't you ask me how my brothers are doing? Why don't you ask a question? And, this is not just for my situation, this is for any situation. A lot of times we like to make assumptions about how people are and what they're going through, as opposed to being like, how are you doing today? How are you feeling? Being an ear that somebody can listen to. And I guess that's why we have so many therapists, because we don't have a lot of great friends. We don't have a lot of great people in our life that are able to really, care about us. And not to say that, therapy would be obsolete, but I think that, it's such a big need in this world, because a lot of people are not good listeners. and they just like to project. They like to make assumptions. They like to tell you, oh, you must be going through this because this happened, or you must be going through that. But all of us are different. And just like I was saying before, just like, all of us are different in terms of the things that we eat. One thing might give someone indigestion, and the other thing might, be fuel for another person. And, our bodies are so amazing and unique, they're able to process so many different things. But then, some bodies, like some people have allergies. Now, whether that was put on by, certain reactions to even certain medical treatments or not, even that person is going to react to that medical treatment different than the average person, I guess, So it's like there's no one size fits all. So as opposed to assuming that, the shoe fits for this person because this is their experience, ask them how they felt during that experience. I think it's like a very beautiful thing when we are open to real dialogue and conversation as opposed to projection. There's a difference. There's something beautiful that even in theater and even doing acting that I learned, when you have a dialogue with these two characters, there's action and there's something that a person wants, and there's tactics to go about getting what you want. And so in my real interactions, I use that as well, because I'm always thinking about, okay, what is this conversation and where is this going, And so I just really, as somebody who has lost their father recently, the most beautiful thing is when people are actually checking up on me as opposed to checking me, as in a sense of like, this is how you're supposed to be feeling, or this is how you cope, or you should do this. Don't tell nobody what they should do or shouldn't do. Ask questions. And then, if they ask you, for help, then you can offer your services, but or your suggestions. But I think it's really insensitive for people to make assumptions. And I just related back specifically to my brothers in terms of they're not going to remember. How many people do you know that have lost their mother or father when they were young? And what is their reaction like as adults? I don't want to even project that. What I want to do is just pour as much love into my brothers as possible. I want to pour as much love into people as possible, because you just never know what they're going through. So what I've taken from all of this is to just continue to be a great student. Continue to learn every single day and every single moment. And the best way to learn is to ask questions. That being said, have a magnificent, beautiful day, y'all. Stay rooted. And, if you got something from this, just give it a little like or, share, whatever you want to do, you feel me? And I am definitely grateful for you for watching this video. So, hope you got something from it. Bless.